What do chicken juice protein shakes, Bo Jackson, and a frozen dad have in common? Let's find out.
Welcome to Fast 524, where we're back to proving that some beer names should stay beer names. I'm John.
And I'm Harrison. You're tuned into Beer Me That Movie, the podcast that makes you question whether we've actually seen a movie before.
Last week, we brought you the tear-jerking saga of Muffin on the Backside, a film so profound it caused existential crises and a slight rise in country club membership.
Yes, a rise there among other places. We're pretty sure someone is going to therapy after that one. Think The Island of Dr. Moreau, but with more ranch dressing and cigarettes.
This week, we're back on Untappd, sifting through the digital beer swamp to find the perfect cinematic disaster to inflict upon the world. Harrison, are you prepared to unleash this kraken?
Oh, I'm always prepared to do that. And I think our listeners are used to it by now. Buckle up, because we're about to make the worst beer names sound like Oscar contenders, at least in our minds. But first,
let's get into Muffin on the Backside. Oh, shit. No wonder I
what John is dealing with is called a stroke. What he's trying to say is, let's talk about why everyone was watching Muffin on the back. Nope, that's creepy too. Why everyone dove deep into Muffin. Nope, no. Hold on, I'll get it. Why Muffin on the Backside came out so well. Oh, bother.
Muffin on the Backside was last week's feature film.
We're going to recap it right now.
Viewer discretion and designated drivers advised.
So every week in our Fast Five, we do a quick recap of last week's feature film, which now everyone knows was Muffin on the Backside, which the name makes me laugh just like when someone's name is Dick.
Richard!
Harrison, getting a chance to re-listen to that edited feature film podcast, do you have any initial thoughts to bring to the table?
Yes, I do. And a lot of great outreach about Muffin on the Backside. The folks at Funktastic who made the beer seem to really enjoy it. So shout out to them for letting us know that. Maybe you'll be hearing more about Funktastic and Beer Me That Movie in the future. Who knows? But I'm getting ahead of myself. For Muffin on the Backside. So yeah, the biggest kind of takeaway, I guess, is that we stumbled into this raunchy sex comedy trilogy that we didn't even plan on making, but with Bill's Banana Hammock and Back Alley Kitty and then Muffin on the Backside, we did it. We made a trilogy, John. And I don't know if it'll become a quadrilogy, but let's never say never.
You never want to hit that, like, all they make are weird sex-related movies now point in your career.
You're right. We don't want to jump the shark or jump the muffin. Maybe we do. No, we don't.
A lot of people did.
Yeah, apparently.
Do you have more thumbnail images from that one? No one's ever asked me that before. Right. The thumbnail art for Juicy Bits was incredible.
Yes.
Muffin got all the milkshakes to the yard.
The yard. Indeed, she did. As only Muffin could. But that was very cool that it happened that way, and it was a fun, wild ending to that kind of impromptu trilogy that we get to move beyond tonight, even hopefully. We'll see. So that was really cool that happened. Other than that, so I think I also like that in the Fast Five, the clones never came up at all, and kind of getting into the movie, it felt like it needed a little bit of a Beer Me That Movie weirdness to it, even though it was pretty weird to start. But let's throw clones in there.
You gotta do something.
Right. We've done AI bots and other creepy kind of sci-fi things. So why not do clones?
Bringing the bots in the end, like when we got to the end of the movie and then you're like, I got one more idea. where all the clones now are looking at the robots like sex robots.
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
you
That's
can
the
say you're
future.
evolved, you can say you're educated, but at the end of the day, you're all just chasing muffin.
That's it. That's why we're on this planet. I think evolutionarily, that's why we're here. So happy that the clones had something to chase at the end. That was pretty cool. And it did. I think I talked to you about it afterwards. But if anyone out there listening, if you haven't seen, if you thought our ending was ridiculous, go watch the movie Perfume. It's a great movie. It's called Perfume. The ending of that is even crazier than what we cooked up. So it's worth the 90 minutes or whatever to get there and at the end of that movie go, what just happened? Did I see what I just thought I saw? You did. And tell us about it. But anyway, so I'll leave that nugget there. And then the other last kind of thought I had was, I thought it was pretty funny that at the end, all the evil country club members were basically pleasured to death, even though there's some sand and horrible friction involved. We'll say pleasured to death. Is that? And I thought this week, is that a metaphor for now, John? Are we all just wrapped up in our phones and our lactose-free ice cream and our sugar-free Coca-Cola? Everything's too good to be true. Are we? Is that what's going to kill us?
Ooh, that's. I mean, everyone dies.
Yes.
So far,
Right.
Everyone. One truth. Even taxes can be avoided if you're wealthy.
That's
enough,
right.
But everyone dies. I think that's a pretty apt. Like, we've been doing these not takes on the YouTube channel.
We have.
That's a pretty apt twist on, like, are we all just being, you're just consumed and you can have everything that you want. So maybe you're not gonna create a railroad system like, who was that, for the Vanderbilts?
Yep, exactly. It's hard to have progress when you're content all the time. So that was my thought. Could we do a not take on our own movie? And if you guys haven't been watching these, John has been crushing the not takes. The Batman one that just came out is my favorite so far. If you haven't seen it, it's a quick 4-minute kind of mini show. Check them out on our YouTube if you haven't. But man, so I had a not take thought about Muffin on the Backside as well.
It's a metaphor for the society we live in.
Everyone's being pleasured to death right now.
It's better than like jaundiced to death or dysenteried to death.
Yeah, that's exhausting. You don't want that. It's a lot of work to just die.
You'll never finish the Oregon Trail.
That's right.
What the hell is dysentery? It's something that I had to deal with a long time ago. Now it's just a hunch from looking at your phone all day.
You're right, exactly. Enough looking back. We can jump forward now, John. And what better way to do that than with a cold beer ready to take center stage?
I couldn't agree more. I do this podcast so I can drink Harrison's beer with him. So please, Harrison, tell us and tell me that I can crack this open and walk me through what we're going to be drinking for this one.
Like your favorite uncle, we're going to drink this beer and let it inspire us.
All right. So the beer of the week this week is a big one if you're a beer fan. If you're just here because you think John and I are awesome and know nothing about beer, great. You're still in the right place. I don't know anything about beer to enjoy this podcast. But for us, this is kind of I don't know, for me, it's a big deal. I've never had this before. And it's kind of one of those hype beers or hype breweries or whatever. At least it was at one time. I think it still is. So, okay, what is it? It's called The Substance. I think technically it's called The Substance Ale. This is from Bissell Brothers Brewing up in beautiful Portland, Maine. It's a New England style IPA, 6.6%. Love a good IPA that's less than 7%.
Tell me about it. I was getting nervous when I saw how thick this looked.
Yeah, it will be okay. And from the brewery, it says our precious flagship, brightly dank and designed to be just mysterious enough. Hop with Falconer's Flight, Centennial, Apollo, Chinook, and Simcoe. This is Substance Ale. So I'm going to dive in and take a sip and then talk about this guy. Ooh. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty classic.
Two things come to mind immediately.
Man.
One, Piney Bubblegum.
Yeah.
And 2, Falconer's Flight. Coolest hop name I've ever heard, but I don't see that come up a lot. Is that a unique? Is that not used very much?
I think it's a blend, if I recall correctly, of a couple different hops. Falconer's Flight is so lots of hops in here. All the Falconer's Flight ones: Centennial, Polish Nook, Simcoe. Some kind of classics. Mostly old school hop, but it does have a bit of that tropical fruit flavor coming probably from what's in the Falconer's Flight. Yeah, but this is super solid. It's got a great mouthfeel. Johnny used to joke about people who said that all the time on our other podcast.
You just reminded me.
Here I am doing it.
I haven't heard mouthfeel in a bit. Mouthfeel for beer, I think, as an old man, should just be like cold, wet, refresh. But yeah, in the craft beer scene, and with some of the craft beers, I swear, we drank a beer with mayonnaise in it on this podcast.
We did.
Sometimes a mouthfeel could be described as lingering and gross. So yeah, this one, this is a good mouthfeel. Yeah,
this is delicious. And we had an opportunity to get it because now it's down in North Carolina where we are, I think for the first time. But also, so we just wanted to drink it as a beer, but also the substance for all the beer fans out there, movie fans rather. That's a movie that came out this year. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm not gonna give a hot take on it or anything, or a not take. But reading the description of it sounds like a Beer Me That movie style movie.
Every time I see a new movie release, I'm like, that's something we did.
Someone's listening to us. There's bugs in the walls, not just the ones that are crawling around that shouldn't be in here, but other bugs. So, and the substance is a quick description of it because I want to share, if you guys haven't seen it, how it's described. It just sounds like it fell right out of the Beer Me That movie universe. The substance is a body horror film, which I didn't even know body horror was a type of movie, but here we are learning.
They used to just be horror films, but I guess you have to get more specific
subgenres. Written and directed by, I'm going to say her name wrong, Coralie Farragut. She's French. Probably said it horribly wrong. T's probably silent. Yep.
Coralie Farragut.
Perfect. John nailed it. It follows a fading celebrity, Elizabeth Sparkle, played by Debbie Moore.
Liz Sparkle.
Yep, love that name. Who, after being fired by her producer, played by Dennis Quaid, due to her age, uses a black market drug that creates a much younger version of herself, played by Margaret Qualley, with unexpected side effects. And apparently, I don't know what happens. I kind of have a gist from the trailer. Don't spoil it for me. I'm going to watch it, hopefully soon. It's up for lots of awards, but anyway.
I mean, if we had to spin the substance into a movie, you're telling me there's a aging actress that takes a black market drug she probably bought at Fencers.
Yep.
And it turns her into a younger actress with some side effects. That's beer. That's Fast Five 101.
It's the Fencers special. That's not the drug. That's the grease trap I just emptied. Oh God, what have I done?
And she won some awards with that too, right? Her nominations.
Yeah, I think she's nominated for the Oscar and she won the Golden Globe. So good for her.
I mean, good job.
Good stuff, Debbie Moore. But anyway, so yeah, crazy, wild movie idea, ripe for the Beer Me That movie universe. So we're gonna keep, but as always, we're gonna keep enjoying this beer, but we're not gonna make the substance tonight. It's already been made. This is not a beer we're going to movie. It's just going to kind of power us through all these other crazy movie ideas that we've yet to discover.
And for this quick announcement, I want to keep it short and sweet. All right, so we don't interrupt this podcast with ads because Harrison and I both agree your time is valuable. But we do want to say thanks for stopping by and taking a gander.
What are you, a farmer from Red Dead Redemption, John? Anyway, leave us your critiques and suggestions on social media because we've got a show to make. On to the Fast Five. But first, a fun surprise.
Yeah, so we have this thing we use called SpeakPipe, which is just an online platform. You go to speakpipe.com/beermethatmovie, and you can record a message for us. It's like leaving a voicemail if voicemail was easier. So we got one from one of our listeners, Greg, and I'm going to play that for everyone to hear because Greg's got a challenge for us, Harrison.
Oh, here we go.
Hey, guys. Craig Davis coming to you from Portland, Oregon, or Beervana, as we like to call it. Hey, I've been thinking of another twist on your plot twist that you've been adding. What about instead of taking one of the five beers and making a movie out of that. What if you wove together one at a time, all five? So once you got the first one, you start to build some plots. Once you get the second one, you have to add to it. Third one, you have to add it. You have to incorporate all five. Either way, I think it could be an interesting kind of ultimate challenge. Not something you have to do every week, but maybe once in a while as a kind of a special sort of challenge to yourself. Anyway, keep up the good work and cheers.
Cheers to you, Greg.
Yes, cheers to you, Greg.
That sounds way too hard, though. So, interestingly enough, this is our 24th Fast Five,
That's
which means we're
right.
going to make our 24th feature film. And then the next set of episodes is going to be our 25th, which is the halfway point
That's right.
of this podcast. In the onset, we said we are going to make 50 movies.
Right. So also, if you didn't know that, that is real. We're making 50 movies, and then this is, well, we're done. We said we're done. 50, and that's it.
Yep. Might do something else, but
We'll
50
see.
movies, beer me that movie.
That's the plan.
And Greg comes to us right before we hit that halfway point with a really unique
Serendipitous.
challenge.
Yes.
So I think I can't do that right now, but it's set up perfectly. So for the next Fast Five after this one, Harrison and I are gonna accept Greg's challenge. We're going to go through
Accepted.
5 beers like we normally do, and we're going to incorporate all 5 of those beers into one movie. And hopefully we survive that to make
Right.
25 more afterwards.
Exactly. Right. We may lose our mind that night, but happy to do it in the service of Greg's challenge. That will be the longest title of a movie ever, probably. But that's a logistical problem for another day. We don't need to worry about that right now. But Greg, thanks for the suggestion. We're going to do it, folks. So, right, this week is a normal Fast Five. We'll pick a feature. We'll knock that out for next week. But after that, tune in for Greg's crazy, wacky, fun, intense, super Fast Five, which won't be the name then, but maybe it will be. But it's the working title for whatever this crazy mashup of this Fast Five freak show we've got going on here. So thank you, Greg. It's on like Donkey Kong, as the kids used to say.
They always say
Right, they've
that.
always said it.
Yep.
They still fear Donkey Kong like I do. Terrifying. It's in my closet. All right.
I got a shift, Harrison.
Okay,
I got a
that's right.
shift.
We've got a shift. I'm here idling at the line. Go, 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 go. We've got to get somewhere. We've got some Fast Fives to knock down for pink slips. I don't know anything about driving.
Pink slips. Yeah, that's a thing.
I just
Yeah.
got lucky.
High ethanol, baby, with a short throw shifter and the
That's right.
RPMs.
My car runs on the sun and corn. It's a
I'll
wagon.
see you at the finish line. Pulled by a horse. I'll be there tomorrow.
That's right. It's all about the journey.
All right, so let's kick into this Fast Five.
All right. So, lucky for us again this week, before we dive into Untappd proper, we had another great listener of the show, Brian Davis, submitted a beer to us. Actually, through Untappd, which is amazing. So he tagged us in it and I think commented on it, or I don't even remember how we both saw it.
Sent it to us.
Okay,
in a
sent it to us
message,
as well.
which is
Okay.
helpful because
Yes.
tagging us, it's easy to get lost in there.
Right.
But sending a beer and a message is a great way on Untappd
Right,
to let
which
us
you can
know.
do that, yeah, which is cool. You can send a message as a beer and a message to someone on Untappd. But Brian did that to one of our favorite beers of all time, so we had to use it to kick off the Fast Five tonight. So, John, what did Brian send our way?
So from Brian, the first beer of this Fast Five is made by Trogs Independent Brewery, run by the Trogs brothers,
That's right,
which is where they come up with that
Krogner
sort of
Brothers.
weird
Yeah,
name.
exactly.
And this beer is called Nugget Nectar.
Ooh, Nugget Nectar. A lot of memories, John. A lot of nights I spent drinking Nugget Nectar when I lived in lovely Pennsylvania. It used to come down North Carolina. Don't know why it doesn't anymore.
Oh yeah, because they're up in Philly, or
Yeah.
not in Philly, but they're in
Hershey
Pennsylvania,
now.
right?
Yeah, I think they're in Hershey, right next to the Chocolate World. It used to be in Harrisburg. And it's 21 years of Nugget Nectar, I believe. They're
Wow.
celebrating a anniversary. Nugget Nectar is old enough to drink itself now.
That's kind of it's neat that you can do that.
So congratulations to them. Thanks, Brian, for this. So yeah, love this beer. I will admit though, it's kind of a tough. When I first saw it and got over all the nostalgia about the beer, I was like, gosh, is there a movie in here? Is this about someone trying to melt gold into liquid? Some alchemist? I don't know. That sounds.
I mean, my first thought is that's the Substance movie we just talked about. If it helps you at all, the first time I drank a Nugget Nectar, I was just getting into the craft beer professional scene, and someone had given me one to take home and said, try this. It'll teach you how to like IPAs. But I was staying in a hotel, and I went back to the hotel. I poured a hot bath, and I drank my Nugget Nectar in the bathtub.
Great.
If you haven't done it that way yet, I don't know if you're even a drinker.
Tub beers.
Yeah.
That's great.
It was delicious, though. The best bath I've ever taken in a shitty hotel.
Right. Woke up in the tub 9 hours later.
Cold.
Cold and pruny, but happy. Okay. I love that. Love that visual for everyone at home, too. I went a different way than tub beers. The thought I had was still kind of inspired by the Substance, the movie, and I guess the beer. What if, okay, so Nugget Nectar, this is ridiculous, but this is the place for ridiculous things. So I was seeing like some amateur bodybuilder, right? He's working out, scrawny kid, maybe got a bunch of bullies beating him up. I'll change this. I'll change my life. I'm going to go to the gym, start working out. Sees someone drinking a C4 one day, and he's like, I'll try that. Starts on the energy drinks, meets some more gym people. He's bulking up a little bit, getting stronger. Oh, you should try whey protein. You should take these mystery pills. He's kind of getting deep into the amateur bodybuilding world. Now
got a GNC card now.
He's got a GNC card, exactly right. All of his shirts are sleeveless. He says things like "Sup, brother" to people he doesn't know. So he's becoming awesome. But maybe at one point he hits a plateau.
Don't they always?
They warn you about it. You never think it's going to happen to you, but then one day you're trying to max out that bench press, and it's not happening for you. And so, like in some maybe kind of crazy desperation, he overhears, mishears that somebody's like, all these, here we go, all of these powders and drugs, it's a fad. What you got to do is it's all in the chicken nuggets. The nuggets are the best, purest form of protein. You can eat a ton of them without feeling hungry. Like he makes some horrible pitch that kind of makes sense to our main character about nuggets, but our main character thinks, why eat them when I can blend them and make what he calls Nugget Nectar, which is a chicken nugget juice that he's just chugging. And then, so this is where I wanted to get crazy, is it works. And now it gets into like some ridiculous psychological, creepy movie, maybe like The Substance, where it's like, he keeps getting bigger and bigger and he's the biggest dude in the gym. But then he starts changing. Maybe a feather pops through his skin somewhere, and the movie ends with him as like a giant muscular chicken that's terrorizing this town. He eats the bullies that bothered him. I don't know what happens at that point. He lays an egg and the movie goes black. Like I don't know where this goes, but this gross chicken nugget soup that this guy is just pounding to become super hulked out. I mean, there's a dark side to it, as there is to most things. But that's what I got.
The base largest size nugget you can get is a 20 piece. Yeah, right. There's 40 pieces that they do on occasion.
Sure.
So let's assume.
I'm thinking he's going industrial. He met someone at like Cisco and it's like, I need bags of this.
Yeah, exactly. Like if McDonald's is telling you really ought not eat more than 20 of these. And he's out there grabbing bags by the pound, like clear plastic
the truck on the way to
bags.
Sam's Club. He's grabbing,
and these are not like these aren't free range chickens. They're basically lab created chicken meat.
They're full of hormones and antibiotics,
which could explain. Like you're eating 1,000 chicken nuggets, putting into the Vitamix, run through a sieve. You're eating basically chicken protein hormone water. but it's working. I see him getting bulked up.
Exactly.
Maybe he turns into a chicken. Maybe he turns into more like the Thing or like some sort of like
just keeps growing appendages.
Like,
right?
look, I got 3 biceps. Those are cancer tumors,
Right,
man.
exactly
Those are
right.
definitely not
A
biceps.
whole chicken grows inside him, and he poops it out as an egg, and then his half chicken, half human breaks out of it and starts attacking people. I mean, this could go anywhere after he becomes super bulked up chicken nugget guy. But whoo, so that's where my mind went to besmirch the great name of Nugget Nectar with some body horror movie of our own. That's what I got.
I didn't see it. I was following until you got to chicken nuggets specifically is what threw me off.
Yep. It's nuggets, John. The purest form of protein.
But not any, but I think everyone's known that bodybuilder that got into it.
Yeah.
And if you're good at anything, you really obsess over it. And then you get to that point, Harrison. I can't deadlift more than 400. I've been stuck on here for 2 weeks.
Right.
I need to grow. I need to do something.
Exactly.
Whether he overhears it or some like mysterious shaman, sexy nun lady out in the parking lot is like,
doing
I know
deadlifts
how
over her head.
I know how to make you big. It's chicken nuggies.
Your protein and carb mix is all wrong. You know what's the perfect protein and carb mix? The chicken nugget. There probably is a half-baked argument for like the breading, the protein.
It could hit
It's all
that.
you need.
What's that like 60, 30,
Right,
20, whatever
right.
matrix it is of,
Yes, that's
of weightlifting stuff.
Sure.
And also he's ingesting so many calories.
The calories, the
They're
hormones, the antibiotics. So he's invincible to disease. He's getting giant on these chicken drugs.
I mean, somewhere between 40 and 50,000 calories a day in Nugget Nectar.
That's right. He's just deep frying whole pans and eating them while blending them. And then, he's making his Nugget Nectar. Whoo! I don't know. I could see that. Taken off in certain circles. If you just share that story on some subreddit, some workout subreddit, you may see a run on chicken nuggets.
It's a way to get all the hormones you need a lot cheaper than going
That's
to
right.
GNC.
They put those drugs
get
you're
the
paying $80 for right in the chicken.
And it's
That's why they're
totally
so
unregulated because it's through the industrial food complex.
That's right. Hiding in the chickens all along. Ooh, maybe we're not too far from the truth, John. We might be flying too close to the sun. We might have discovered something the government doesn't want us to
This will be the first film the RFK bans.
They know too much. Well, we know what we know. And we know that Brian's great. Nugget Nectar is awesome as a beer. Sounds like a terrifying movie. Right for the Beer Me That Movie universe. And a great way to kick off tonight's show.
Absolutely. Thanks for the submission, Brian. And from here, we're going to go to whatever y'all are drinking on Untappd and see what's coming up next.
One down, more to go.
So for beer number 2, we're going to take a look at Fiden's Brewing Co. gives us the Night Offering, checked in from Shane.
Shane, the Night Offering. So I believe, John, someone recently, or you put up actually on YouTube, right? A poll asking folks, hey, of these wild genres, which one would you like to see next? A bunch of great options, but the one that won that vote was it dystopian circus romance?
Yes. Yes. I did come up with some weird potential genres. And I guess the baseline for this would be a romance that happens involving a circus in a world where people are basically enslaved, or it's kind of a fear-riddled world.
Okay, I've got it. I think I can do that with the Night Offering. Are you ready?
Show me.
So I don't quite have. So here's the baseline. We can figure out specifics as always. But essentially, we're in a circus. It focuses on this man who's like a high flying trapeze artist.
Love it.
Always has a new young assistant, whether that's every week, every day,
Every town.
Okay.
I love it.
Town.
Yes.
This is it. Traveling circus. Every town, one of his duties is to recruit some local head cheerleader, lonely hearts girl, whoever, to be his assistant flying trapeze artist. Hopefully they have some experience doing flips. Maybe they don't need it. and be in the show while they're there for a weekend, 3 days, 4 days, whatever. And so he does it each time kind of begrudgingly. And we kind of learn as he's doing this that why there's a new girl each town is because this circus is run by vampires, John. And so it's a 3-night show. The girl and the guy do the flips and the jumps and the trapeze stuff. And on the 3rd night, the final trick they do, he always throws her up to the highest rafter or the highest landing or whatever. And she disappears in a poof of smoke. And the audience goes, woo, and thinks it's all part of the show. But in reality, he's sacrificing her to the vampires that always hide in the dark top of the tent or the night or, again, whatever. This is all details that we can figure out. The romance comes in where he finally finds a girl he falls in love with over 3 days. Ooh. And he has that last night. What do? Do I throw her up to the vampires who will kill me if I don't? Or do I try to escape this prison I'm in, run by these vampires who've basically enslaved me and everyone else working at this circus? So that's it.
I think, personally, putting vampires in the dystopian circus romance turns it into a vampire movie.
Okay, well, they could be something else.
Because it's in this world where, like, it's usually, like, think like 1984 was a dystopian book.
Yep.
So the circus is enslaved, is in contract with whoever's running this organization runs the world that this is living in.
Vampires.
And maybe they call themselves vamps, and it's short for like very automatic, moochy people. Whatever. Sure, you can put a vampire reference in here if we need to. That's fine. And you still give it, and you still like. But I like your take that this is what happens. Everyone's kind of sad. The circus comes to town. It's like you almost have to go.
Right.
Like, oh, the circus is coming to town. Make sure everyone's there.
The one happy thing in our horrible lives is the circus, or so we think.
We grab a girl, and the trapeze artist is Italian because all the good ones were. So he's like, don't you worry. I will catch you before you ever hit the ground. And the girls are always like, oh, my God, I'm going to be part of the circus. Yep. And, and that's his penance. Like, this isn't something he wants to do, but it's like, do this or die. The Vamps are running, the government organization known as the Vamps are running the show here. And now we have to figure out how to Romeo and Juliet this new circus romance. I like this.
3 days. It's like Titanic meets some horrible The Island or whatever. So yeah, you're right. It doesn't have to be vampires. It could be, but it's some evil whatever that we can figure out that she's being offered up to, and they fall in love. So that's the bones of the night offering, and it can go, as always, a bunch of different ways. But we haven't done dystopian circus romance yet.
No, we have not.
And we have an accent, so we're 90% of the way there.
And because it's a circus, you got a lot of potential. Yep. I mean, like, it could be like an electric night circus sort of thing that happens.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like, think like Blade Runner in 1984.
Yes. Ooh.
And maybe a little steampunky.
A little like the movie Artificial Intelligence, where there kind of is like what do they call it? A crash derby with like futuristic androids, though.
Yeah.
Where they're smashing each other up like gladiators for the entertainment of all these people in this sad future. This
could be the equivalent of this circus is like the Roman cathedral, because everyone living in this, we'll say, country, dystopian world,
West Eurasia,
it's just sadness. Like, you are born sad, and you don't even have. There's not even a hope for you to like get out of this sadness.
We eat a bunch of Nugget Nectar soup your whole life, watered down, of course.
My dad hatched me from his cloaca butt, and I'm gonna die just like he did right after that happened.
Die in that cloaca butt. But first, I get to see the circus once every 72 weeks. The circus rolls into our town, and we're happy for a while. And that one girl always goes missing. Oh well, back to the mines.
Yeah, I guess she's part of the circus now. They're going on. They won't be back here for another.
Lucky her, right?
Exactly. And it's like maybe it's like in 10 years when the circus comes back to our little town. we'll get to see Jamimi again. She'll be part of the circus, hopefully.
Yes, can't wait to see her again one day. So yeah, it could be, and that's true. It could be like kind of a combination of her little boyfriend in this town and the trapeze guy, help her escape, help beat the bad whatevers. I like this. There's plenty here to dive into a feature if we decide to do it. This is a good one, and we got our Disotopian circus romance.
That was kind of fun. I might try and wiggle another one of those in here, depending on what's next.
That's right. No one says we can't do more than one.
It's just an idea. It's our second one. Now we're going to go look for beer number 3.
That's 2. You guys are thirsty.
For beer number 3, here's our take from Southern Strain Brewing Company, given to us by Brian. Attitude adjustment. It's modern times, the world.
Okay.
And somehow America has ended up at war with almost every country.
Yep.
And we're using our super advanced military to deplete their leadership, because that's the best way to end a war ahead of time, is to get rid of their leaders.
Of course.
So we're doing that a lot of times by missiles, drone missiles, etc. And we've gotten pretty good, but most of the time when we have that key target set up, it's just a narrow miss. And it takes us almost the whole movie to figure out that all these missiles are, the launch program was coded by one guy that doesn't want to kill all the leaders of other countries.
Okay.
So he's cashing in on the American military system, but he's also like, okay, yeah, they need that to hit like 42, 43 minutes, latitude, longitude, whatever. He's like, I'm just going to put a little attitude adjustment on all this programming. So if they're aiming for target X, they're going to hit like X.5 and they'll never hit their target.
This is great. And they find out about him. He goes on the run with some pretty lady, because why not? And the final scene is him, right, like them being like, we're going to use your own missile against you. And they fire it at him, and he just stands there, and it misses him and hits their car. It's like perfect. It saves his life. This.
But it'd be like a tense final scene, because they'd be like, we finally figured out what you did, and we fixed the programming. And he's there with his sexy non-accomplice, and she's like, "We need to move. They fixed the program." He's like, "They can't fix my programming."
Believe in me.
Then it just becomes like a man's ego. No one can out-program me.
I'm the smartest.
They said they fixed it. I feel like we should move. Right. We just move like 20 feet over that way. No, it's going to miss.
It's going to miss. I'm always right.
And you see the big explosion, but you don't know.
You never know.
Maybe you see like 30 years later, the world's finally found their way to peace again.
Yep.
But, and you see the same guy. In this case, the beer was checked in by Brian. So you see like someone that looks like Brian, but obviously a kid.
Right.
Sure. Maybe like he's got Brian's hat on.
Perfect.
And he's like trying to hack the planet.
Just like my dad. Just a little bit.
Maybe he's not like his dad.
Okay.
Maybe he's like maybe he's campaigning for war. Too many enemies out there. We need to take them out.
He needs an attitude adjustment. Brian Jr.
And then his dad comes into the closing scene. Right. You need an attitude adjustment.
Riding his own missile.
Like, oh my God, he did live.
Where have you been, Dad? You're the reason I'm horrible. You abandoned me. I had a father figure.
I thought I was taking out the people that took you out.
Exactly.
No. They tried to take me out.
Why didn't you tell us this? Living in a cave just outside of town. Just outside of town. I'm 12.
I've seen you walk to school so many times. That girl doesn't like you. She's just using you to hold her books.
That's right. Exactly. It's hurting your back. You have horrible posture.
You got that from your mom.
Where is your mother?
Well, all right.
That's something.
It is something. Let's see if we can find something better.
3 down. We're probably halfway done already.
For beer number 4 from Trophy Brewing, given to us by Ethan, is Bo Knows Tecmo. My first thought is it makes me think of Juicy Bits a little bit, but it's the video game. It's the football video game industry. That's the setting of this movie.
Okay.
And Bo Knows Tecmo is a reference to Tecmo's
Tecmo
Bowl.
I think it's called that. Yeah.
Yep. The first,
Yes.
arguably good football game for the NES, and I think it was actually an arcade for a minute too.
Yep.
And Bo Jackson was on there. I don't think it said Bo Jackson, but he was number 34 on the black and silver team.
Yes.
And and he was unstoppable. Like, you could just run through anyone. So that was, I don't know what the movie ends up being about. Maybe there's some sort of like something evil that's happening in the football video game industry. I mean, it's still very, very, it makes EA Sports a hell of a lot of money.
Right. I was imagining it as like a kid in King Arthur's Court / New Jumanji type movie where some kid gets pulled into Tecmo Bowl.
Ooh, that's more fun.
And is Bo Jackson and has to win the Super Bowl the Tecmo Bowl to escape or whatever, something like that. Maybe him and his friends get pulled in, or maybe it's him and the neighbor he always argues with and his stepbrother he doesn't like and the girl he madly loves are all pulled in there, and they all have to be football players. Right?
she's a cheerleader. She comes through in the 8-bit cutscenes.
Perfect. And then it's them, trying to work together and get over their differences and win the Tecmo Bowl so they can escape this game. And then it's something like that, and they're friends in real life after that. That's what I don't know.
There's only 4 plays you have to remember, man. It's just run, or pass.
Just give the ball to Bo. Why are we strategizing? It's Bo fucking Jackson.
We're going against the maroon and gold team.
Right,
They're very
exactly.
good.
The horrible, backwards knees. Bo's gonna blow them all down. So yeah, something like that. Some kind of fun, juicy bits type movie, but we're going in the game, and have to escape by beating it.
I like that. It's hard to put a story into Tecmo Bowl, but
right, exactly.
Maybe
true.
When they advance through Tecmo Bowl, now they're just part of the whole. They're part of the world. So it's like, Super Bowl came out, which was a little nicer than Tecmo Bowl. Eventually, we get to Madden.
Right.
And now the kid's got like a whole story where he's like doing press interviews, and he's like working at the gym to try and buff up his stiff arm for the next game.
Right.
Now, it's just a football movie, but he needs to stay on top is what it is.
Okay.
Bo and Tecmo Bowl was like the cheat code, and that hasn't happened since. Like, you could play you pick Justin Jefferson in Madden, you pick Josh Allen. You're not just going to break an 80-yard run because it's Josh Allen. This kid, Ethan, who checked the beer in, Ethan playing Bo. I don't know. That's
Bo. Yeah, you could do it as Bo. Do it all as Bo. He tries to get him to leave Tecmo Bowl and play a baseball game. No, send me back to football.
Nope, Tecmo also released Major League Bases. And guess what, buddy? You got another assignment.
That's how it ends. They're like, we beat it. We're free, right? Nope. You got to beat the baseball
You're free from
now.
football.
You're still Bo. All right. We got a shot.
Any chance we can get into Leisure Suit Larry? So that's 4 down, and we're looking for a hot number 5.
We're already at 4 movie ideas from beer names.
For beer number 5 from Woods Beer and Wine Co., given to us by Trunks, checks into a beer called Freeze Pop. I mean, it could be the Disney story,
Pop.
but that's sure. That's, I guess, the one way to take it. But I think in the Beer Me That Movie universe, it's more along the lines of like, here's the easy lineup. Dad is sick.
Exactly. That's what I was. Exactly this. Yes.
His oldest son is a magnate, and his youngest son is a crackhead, but he knows how to make the best crack. And so his oldest son is like, I'm going to freeze Dad because his condition's curable. I've been doing the numbers. The research is in 10 or 20 years, we'll be able to cure Dad. And then the youngest son is like, I could cook up a cure right now. He's like, don't fucking touch anything, you're a crackhead. And he's like, no, I could do. And then they come up with a cure to unfreeze their dad and cure him with crack.
We could cure Dad with crack.
Somehow Dave Chappelle's in this movie.
Crack is a wonder drug. He had no idea. Just been using it wrong. You have to put it directly in your anus. You can't smoke it. That destroys the quality.
Don't thaw him out. I'm putting a lot in here. He's going to wake up feeling great.
It has to be a suppository. That's how it's most effective. Crack is a wonder drug.
Or maybe dad's the CEO. 1 or 2, 3 or 4 sons trying to take over, but dad, the trust doesn't align with them. Like, dad wants to give dad's going to turn the company into like PBS, and they're going to be left with nothing. Dad's an Irishman. He's like, I did this one myself. You'll build your own fortune.
Right.
You won't get anything from me when I'm dead.
Right.
Okay, fine. Well, dad can't die. Let's freeze him and say he's on vacation to the board, and I'll assume control and we'll run the company. We just have to keep dad frozen, which now maybe it isn't that easy to keep dad frozen.
I like this, right? They freeze dad to take over the family business. And then it's does one of the sons feel bad about it and try to thaw him? Is there infighting? Do they do well? And then dad becomes unfrozen and 50 years later and is like, what happened to my company? Tries to undo.
He's the same age as the son.
Right, there you go. Exactly. So now they're peers. They've got more wisdom. This could go. I love the idea of the freezing pop CEO. And does he, become unfrozen too soon, too late? What does that mean? I love this idea. There's a lot we could do with a frozen dad. I like the original idea of the disease. That was my first thought, was has a disease. The son's in kind of an attempt to save him, or read some article in Newsweek in 1985 that by the year 1999 we'll have cured all diseases.
We gotta thaw dad before Y2K.
We'll freeze dad or before the computers melt him. But maybe they're all out of town and he unfreezes 15 years later, and he wakes up on the eve of Y2K and all the news is like the world's gonna end, and he's disoriented, naked, unfrozen, no family,
still shrinkage.
He's been asleep for 15 years. And it's basically in an alien world that sounds like it's about to end, and they have to kind of race home as all the computers and flights are being delayed once they discover their dad's unfrozen to try and save him. And then I don't know how it's curious. Then he dies of his disease. I don't know how how this ends well for dad, who's still sick. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. But I like this. There's a lot here in Freeze Pop.
And I like the idea of because Y2K now is a joke, but at the time,
oh my gosh,
if you're in Chicago and you're trying to get back to your thawing father in Minneapolis,
there you go.
That's going to be flights are kind of weird.
Right.
And, everything was people were pretty shaken.
People were freaked out about that. I knew a doctor that built a bomb shelter in his backyard and filled it with ramen and all kinds of other stuff. We ate that ramen for many years after. Every time we went over to their house, you guys like some ramen for dinner? Yeah, sure.
There's probably been at least 3 other times where he's been gratefully built that bomb shelter since then.
For sure. Every time.
I got to go out and pack up the ramen again. A little too soon, but.
See you later. I got to go to the shelter. Oh, my gosh. Okay, there's something there. I like the Y2K element. We can do a lot with that.
Y2K was fun. I think I remember it, but I don't know if I do anymore.
I remember that. The ramen.
That's a good number 5, though. So we got 5, including one submitted from a user, which is always the best ones. Do you want to throw in an ultimatum?
I'm feeling it. We're starting to gain some speed now. I think there's a gem coming up.
Let's see what we got for an ultimatum tonight.
Moving on to the next beer.
For tonight's ultimatum given to us by John, it's made by Modest Roots Brewing, and it's called Family Tree. And I bet Harrison knows exactly what he wants to do with it.
Hold on.
What's happening over there?
I don't know. I'm not sure yet, but this feels Family Tree. There's got to be puns and layers to this. A family tree, relatives, the old tree in the backyard. This could be like a sappy movie where, someone dies and the family gets together and the oak tree in the backyard falls down the day of the funeral, and that, I don't know what, now I want beer that movie with it, unlocks a demon in the tree. I don't know. And the family has to fight this evil demon that the patriarch of the family trapped there forever ago. That was not my original idea. That's not a sappy movie. That's a fun beer that movie. So we've got family tree, means a lot of things. We could do tree stuff, family stuff.
We could do tree stuff as a great first date
We
move.
could do tree stuff. You into tree stuff?
I have
I'm
a job, and we could do tree stuff if you want.
Right. You're a lot shorter than your Tinder picture. I know. Spend a lot of time in the trees doing stuff.
Do you want to do tree stuff?
Do you want to do tree stuff? Ever done tree stuff?
When you were talking about the idea in the beginning, it didn't take you as long to get to demon as I thought it would have.
I surprised myself.
But my thought too was like, there's a tree in the backyard, and there's
Yes.
something significant like
Yes.
buried under the
Yes.
tree.
Yep, exactly. All the dead pets come back to life under the family tree in the backyard and murder the family.
Ooh, okay. I mean, prompt Stephen King.
Yeah, I
but
know that already exists, but
while that tree was standing, as long as our family's been alive, that tree's been alive. We
Yep.
always plan our family out in the lot, and it's like they have an estate. Is a
oh,
wealthy
here we
family.
go. Yes.
And something happens to get struck by lightning.
Exactly right. Lightning strike for sure.
And the tree doesn't fall over. It
No.
it gets beat up. Like the tree goes from a 10 to a strong 3,
Yeah.
and weird things start happening.
Yes.
So weird things that can be explained, but it happens enough where finally the patriarch of the remaining patriarch of the family is like, we're going to get rid of that tree. Ever since it got struck by lightning, weird shit's been happening. I called someone, they're going to take it away. They come chop down the tree, and that's when
It could be the
former
whole
family members start
exactly.
coming back.
It's the family plot. It's the cemetery and the huge, huge estate with the trees in the middle of, and the lightning electrifies all the dead pets, people, whatever.
Goldfish.
Yeah, the goldfish. They don't last very long when they come back. They kind of just flop around and get eaten by a zombie cat pretty quickly. But
It's a whole circle of life.
and so that would be interesting because it's like your family members, but they're zombies. So you got to fight them, but they're your family members. So it could be one of those movies where, to make it fun, like you don't want to just go and blow all their heads off and end it. You kind of like trap and trick your zombie family members while you're quickly trying to find a way to undo the lightningification of them all and get them back into their graves so they can rest in peace. So your kind of hands are tied in terms of, again, you can't just pull out the machine gun and end this in 15 minutes. You gotta turn your house into an elaborate mouse trap. And then
like
trick 'em all
Shaun of
back
the
into
Dead
ground.
zombies.
Right. Yeah. Sure. Yes.
Like
there
they're
you
gonna
go.
eat you, but if you put Grammy in the kitchen
Right,
and you tie her up in
exactly,
there, she's gonna
exactly
make biscuits.
Right. Exactly right. Exactly right. You just dump all the shoes in the hall. Mom will be in there organizing the shoes.
Just don't get close to her.
Right. Give them something
or she'll
to
try
do.
and eat you.
Give them something to do long enough.
Now it's like almost Little Shop of Horrors where they gotta
Yes.
like, now they have to find people in the community to come to feed brains to the family.
Exactly. Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. This could be fun, funny movie while being right, a little different take on just another zombie flick. Which there are a lot of creative zombie movies out there, but that would be fun. The old family tree comes back to get you.
It's like we have servants, but they're also our relatives.
Right. As long as they don't smell your blood, they'll keep making biscuits and cleaning the toilet and changing the sheets. And they try to eat you. You gotta be careful. Oh, that would be a hell of a way to live.
The kid's got his 2 great grandpas like strapped into the couch. He's trying to show him how to play Need for Speed.
Right.
I wish they could talk. We could make it so they could talk, right?
Yeah,
and you get
sure.
like the old Russian patriarch that first came over here or something.
Yes.
I don't know.
I can't do Russian.
I
Can
forgot
do
Russian.
Me too. What is this game?
I must break you.
Yeah, there we go. I must build you up stronger. Oh, I'm sorry, my hand fell off.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay, Poppy. I don't know why the Russian grandfather would be Poppy, but it doesn't matter. We'll figure it out. It's a multicultural
The kid
family.
doesn't know either. He's got a zombie great grandpa hanging out next to a Italian immigrant uncle that wasn't even really part of the family initially. He got lucky and one of the sisters took a shine to him. That had like a secret affair. Maybe you could.
I was gonna say, could be a lot of that kind of.
Some things
my sister
come to light, and you realize that the shitty family that you hate is actually part of your family.
Okay,
and you need to. I don't know. We're making the whole movie. It's called Family Tree.
we got a lot of roots, a lot of things we could go, a lot of paths we could take with that one as well.
Speaking of paths we could take, Harrison, that's 5 beers and an ultimatum.
Ooh.
Now, we've got to pick one of these fever dreams to make into a movie next week.
So recapping all 6 beers, it's Nugget Nectar, Night Offering, Attitude Adjustment, Bo Knows Tecmo, Freeze Pop, and the ultimatum was Family Tree. From those, we need to pick one and turn it into a movie. And usually Harrison just does that automatically.
Yeah. It's been tough recently. A lot of good ideas, a lot of different paths we could take.
Hold on, I'm going first this time, Harrison.
Right, good. You go first.
I'll take the reins for you.
Thanks, John.
And I'll eliminate the easiest one.
Great.
So
Nice of you.
for me, I'm going to eliminate Bo Knows Tecmo. I think we beat that film up already.
Yeah, that one was mostly made. I think we kind of could all see it as a film like it's been made many times before. Fine. Bo Knows Tecmo, that one get kicked off. I feel like Attitude Adjustment also can get booted.
I'm okay with that. In that case, I will take. Now we get close though. Night Offering was a circus romance.
Yeah.
Freeze Pop was good. I like Night Offering and Freeze Pop the
I
most.
think I do too. Even though Nugget Nectar would be fun, and we'd have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, we would. Chicken juice,
workout jokes, but illegal workout drugs. We really didn't, and there's probably more. We didn't do enough to build up that story. I think we see what he's doing, but like, why does he want to? I guess we talked about bullies.
We could have a lot of fun with Nugget Nectar.
There's more. Yes,
I'm not against it.
We did a lot with it, but there's still we kind of find the rest of the story there. So there's more to go with Nugget Nectar. So I like that one.
I do kind of want to know if he turns into a chicken.
We would also have to answer that question: is he a chicken? Does he give birth to a chicken? Is it nothing to do with that? Does he get captured by Big Chicken and hidden in some cave somewhere because he's discovered the hack that no one needs to know about becoming a superhuman with nuggets?
Do you want to do Nugget Nectar?
Gosh, we could. I mean, I love that beer.
Let's look at what we're missing out on. Night Offering. Potential vampire dystopian circus romance. That was a decent story.
Fun. I like that. I like that story a lot.
Freeze Pop, cryogenic freeze dad.
And that can go. We tried a couple
Y2K.
different versions of that, and Y2K is fun. We get to go play in the 90s and the 80s again, which we haven't done in a bit.
I'll take Family Tree off that list. I liked it, but we still got 3 strong ones.
Yeah, we do.
Freeze Pop, Night Offering, Nugget Nectar.
Ooh. I think it's between Night Offering and Nugget Nectar for me. As much as I like Freeze Pop, I just think I like those 2 more.
I agree. Night Offering's good. It's hard to turn my back on that.
But I'll say that, I mean, yes, that is exactly. I feel like we've done, well, I don't know. It's unique. We haven't done a circus movie yet. We also don't know we'd have to figure out if these are creatures or evil people, kind of a little bit more about this Night Offering. Is it being offered to? And if it's not vampires for blood, why is it being offered? There's a lot there, but also Nugget Nectar. Watching somebody come to their own. We'd also have to make the case for why are chicken nuggets the ultimate carbo and protein loading food, which I feel like I could do. Oh, I don't know, John.
Coin flip?
I knew you were going to say that. We can do a coin flip. Found it.
Nugget Nectar is heads because that was the first beer, and Night Offering is tails. like muffin on the backside.
I'll try to catch it. Which one's which?
Nugget Nectar is head.
His heads. Okay. And Night Operator is tails. Oh, oh,
Good catch.
it's in.
I'm here to verify
breaking
this.
my watch. It's heads.
Nugget Nectar it is. We'll see you next week.
It is. That's it. So until then,
Peace.
punch.
Give me your
nuggets.
lunch. Nugget. Give me your chicken nuggets.
Your Nugget Nectar.